Hey Harrison, how are you today?
I'm good. How about you?
I'm well, thanks. Happy New Year.
Yeah, you as well.
Thank
Crazy.
you. I know it's crazy. It happens so fast, right? Well, hey, every week, when we talk to you guys, and understandably so, you guys say, it's the most important game because it's our next game. Totally get that. The question is, though, when you know the magnitude of a game, are there any benefits to the team? Like, does it benefit you guys at all knowing, like, hey, this weekend, if things go according to plan, there's a chance we could clinch a playoff spot? Can that motivate you or help you at all? Or do you just have to absolutely, no matter what, block out the noise?
I think it's a healthy balance. I mean, it'd be ignorant to say that people don't know that, right? I mean, we definitely know that. We know we control our own destiny in the next 2 weeks. Again, never looking ahead, but we understand what happens if those stars align. So, yeah, maybe a little bit of extra juice. It's also nice that we get 2 home games to hopefully accomplish the goals that we have in these next 2 games. And so we're hoping that Highmark is rocking and we understand the complexity of what a win can do for us.
And this is a little bit more of a football question, but Cordero Patterson gets used everywhere. And, when he would be lined up out wide, it's not really something you would have to concern yourselves with. But if he's in the backfield, then you absolutely do. So how do you prepare as a defensive lineman for a player like that?
Yeah, I mean, well, fortunate enough, we got to play him a few years ago when he was in New England, and he has a lot of great traits. And it's more just an awareness, same thing as for our personnel groupings, right? What do we call 21, 12? Is he in as a running back? Is he in as a receiver? Is he in? And so we've dealt with that with many other players this season in our personnel stuff. So it's just an awareness of, hey, when he's aligned in this position, these are more the runs we might see, or this is the more tendencies that we're going to see. And so, making sure that we know where he's at and lined up is definitely going to be part of helping us anticipate plays.
Cool. Thanks, Harrison. Appreciate the time.
Yep. No problem.
What's up, Harrison?
Hey.
How are you?
I'm good. How about you?
Doing good. Hey, the offense has been on fire the last couple weeks. What do you think has gotten into them?
I think they just finally, found who they are. They're definitely playing their Buffalo Bills brand of football. It's exciting to watch as a defensive player. The easiest example for me is on third downs. Us knowing when they're out on third down, I don't get off the bench and start getting ready because I know that they're going to get a first down because we got that much confidence in them and they've been clicking and firing really well. And that really helps us, can bail us out of situations, or it can turn our team one-dimensional because we're up so many points. The run game almost becomes obsolete. So we love how they're finding themselves and being their true brand of football helps us a lot.
And then Josh Allen became the first person in the first 4 seasons of his NFL career to pass for at least 100 touchdowns and rush in for 20. Is that crazy to think about, or are you just like, oh, that's just Josh?
Well, I guess when you're that close to it, it's a little bit more of that. But yeah, I mean, the reality of it is we're being a part of, someone breaking history, making history at the quarterback position. And, you can only say that so often about so many things. Those type of players don't just come around. So definitely smelling the roses and being very grateful that I'm here to see it firsthand and be on these teams. I think there's a lot more records down the road that are going to be broken. But you and I both know the only thing that he cares about is winning a Super Bowl. So all those accolades are going to come in. They're very well deserved.
Awesome. Thanks, Harrison.
You're welcome.
Hey, Harrison, you guys have been, really good, the pass rush, especially when you use the blitz and you got, guys like Matt and Tremaine who are excellent when it comes to, creating pressure from that point of view. When you're a defensive lineman, you work on pass rushing techniques. A lot of it is one-on-one, hand usage and things, you versus an offensive lineman. When you have a blitz scheme and there's linebackers or DBs coming, and there's a situation where you might get an offensive line extended one way or chasing a guy one way, how does that change how you as a defensive lineman kind of attacks as a pass rusher, knowing that it might not just be simply you against the guy going up ahead of you? It might be you might have an opening that's created by a blitz. Just, I think diving into, what does the thinking change from your point of view when there's help coming on that pass rush snap?
Yeah, I mean, I think this is less directed towards the game this weekend, just like general football knowledge.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
If you've got, we call it like a mug look, or if you're showing zero, you guys watch football. If you got 6 guys on the line of scrimmage, they've only got 5, there's an extra gap. And same if a running back steps up, there's going to be an extra gap. And so teams can slide the protection, cutting a player loose. They can, split where the linebacker's now loose up the middle with the back, or they can even cut a defensive tackle loose. And so as a defensive lineman, you want to ensure that your alignment is good. You want to align for success. If they're going to kick the whole protection down and you're a defensive end, you don't want to align, some of the defensive ends on pass rush, they like to widen and get square. Well, you don't want to widen out so far that you're giving the quarterback an extra second to get it, get the ball out. And so those same looks, those pressure looks also, defenses sometimes disguise them, right? You can show everybody and then guys drop out. And hopefully you still get that same type of protection where you're cutting the guy free. So that's, just like defensive scheme overall, not like a game plan or anything. Yeah. And so awareness for a defensive lineman in those situations is, hey, if we're showing pressure or we've got veteran quarterbacks who know pressure's coming, they're going to dictate where the slide's going to go. And they're going to try to pick it up. So that's why, it's so great for our secondary who can show rotation, Micah and Jordan coming down differently, Matt coming up, when really Tremaine's coming, or vice versa. And so all those things we have to take into account as defensive linemen, trying to anticipate where the slide's going to be, who's going to get the one-on-one, and who's going to be cut free. Also in pressure looks, if you're showing everybody, you got to be alert for them to check to a run play. A lot of times team will run a trap play, or screen. Everyone's up front. Let's dump a screen out to the sides and run some type of jailbreak screen. So all things that go into anticipation, when you hear a play call, you see the offense comes in, all these things have to be rolling and going through your head, and we're communicating with each other. Also, if they're showing blitz, they're going to hard count most likely to try to get somebody to show if they're really coming or if they're backing out. So it's it's a further in-depth conversation than just, this or that, but I hope that answers your questions a little bit.
No, I appreciate that. That's great stuff. And it's fascinating. Let me ask you this. We always think about disguising a blitz as something that the D-backs are doing. Do you come up? Do you not come up? Timing it, maybe linebackers too. But you're talking about, the defensive end aligning a certain way to hiding whether or maybe indicating whether a blitz is coming. Is it maybe not a defensive tackle question, but is there factors on the D line where you guys have to either hide a blitz or maybe do something that's similar in the realm of what a D-back does in terms of trying to, not give away that a blitz is coming based on your line? Like you said, you got to make sure you know who the free man is and what, who's going to be able to take advantage of that against a guy like Brady or Matt Ryan this week. Is there a factor of having to try hide that?
Definitely. And I think that's something you learn the longer that you play. It's something that I hear our veteran defensive ends talking to our younger defensive ends about. And same with linebackers too. If they're showing like this, I'm right up on the line of scrimmage and it looking like I'm coming, but I'm looking at where my coverage is. Okay. You're probably not actually blitzing. Yeah. Same with our defensive ends. If 30 plays in a row, he's in a 3-point, 4-point stance, and all of a sudden he's in a 2-point stance. Well, shoot, maybe that's so he can drop back out to his coverage more often. And so knowing the appropriate times to be in a 2-point stance, to be in a 3-point stance, to come up in the line and act like you're looking out to see, okay, I've got number 3 if he comes in, or I've got the back outside, but really you're actually blitzing. And then vice versa. Hey, this is a hard split. If the running back goes out, I got him unless I get a call from the safety telling me that I got the tight end. So you don't want to show all that stuff. So yes, defensively, our defensive ends can either help or hurt or try to disguise as well. It's important.
Cool, man. I know it's a 5-hour conversation, but I appreciate your 5 minutes on it.
Yeah.
Hey, Harrison. Sorry, I'm outside, so if you hear weird noise. But I was just curious, what is having Star back and like in your meeting room on the field? What does he bring just overall?
First of all, I always say he's an amazing person and an amazing friend. One of the guys I'm closest with on the team here has been fantastic for just my development and confidence and stuff in my career here. And so from that side of things, the off the field stuff, just morale, happy. We're always joking. It's always great to have Star around. You're always going to be smiling when Star's there. Another reason it's great to have him back is to, know that everything's going okay with him and his family. As we were all praying and everything worked out well for them. And it's good news that everything's okay. And then what you talk about on the field with Star, just a guy who's very humble and takes pride in his job, what he has to do. Our position isn't very glorious. We don't make a lot of tackles. We don't do it. It's mainly anchoring combo blocks and plugging up the middle. And he takes great pride in that. And so it's always great to have him back. And then he's shown some great pass rush this year as well. And so just different waves of things when you get an offensive lineman who has to go block FA, and then he has to go block Ed, and then he has to block me, and then he has to block Star. We all have different strengths and weaknesses, and that's hard for an offensive guard to set the same person the same way. So Star's another fastball we can throw at guys.
And then sorry to keep asking you about other guys on the team, but also with Ed, how have you seen him take a step forward on the field in some ways this year? Like, what do you think he's done particularly well this year?
The thing I think he's done extremely well is understanding the situations more, kind of how I just talked about the defensive end position and all the complexities that go on in that. That's just in one situation. Ed's now grown tremendously in this year to understand, okay, the running back's over here. What does that mean? Hey, there's 2 tight ends on this side. What does that mean? And that's a huge step that he's taken this year, is the mental side of the game. In our meeting rooms, he's answering questions extremely quick. He's, sometimes surprising us older guys or whatever, like, dang, Ed, you know that? So I think that his mental preparation this season has been his biggest area of growth.
Awesome. Thank you, and Happy New Year.
Yeah, you as well.
Hey, Harrison, how you doing?
What's up, bro?
Great. Everybody's been asking you about other players. I'm going to ask you about you. Where do you think you have grown the most this season in your game?
That's a good question. I think for me, I guess I think a confidence thing plays a lot in it. Just like trusting that yourself, that you can make the plays and you can do a good job. But a lot of it too is things that are out of my control. Let's just say there was a random game last year. I played a great game. I did my job fantastic. It might have finished the ball game with 0 production, no tackles. But I was in my gap. I was up causing disruption, but just the ball was going away. I do a great job, but the ball goes that way, or I do a great job and somebody else messes up, so the ball goes another way. And this year it just feels like those times that I'm doing the thing, the ball just happens to be there. And so I don't think that there's just been a giant jump really in my level of play. It just seems like as I'm doing my job, the ball's starting to show up more and more and more. And so I think that's why I'm starting to see a little bit more production and more tackles and things like that. So, and obviously when that stuff comes and there's more trust from your teammates and the leadership aspect of bringing in young guys, so see yourself as more of a leader, all that kind of mental side of it is, it helps as well.
Is it harder when you're a young player to kind of have those games where you're doing everything right, but still nothing showing up on the stat sheet?
Yeah, definitely. And you just, again, there's things that are out of your control. You've seen it 100 times. Even, I guess the easiest example would be maybe a wide receiver makes a super clean move, is wide open in the end zone, and the quarterback doesn't see him. Now that's a touchdown 10 times out of 10 if the quarterback did see him. And so those same things happen, but on smaller levels up front. Like I said, I could beat my guy clean. He's on the ground and I'm sitting there begging for the ball. And it's, a screen play that way, or an outside play way the other side. And so, that's tough, but that's why you line up and play the very next play and the very next play. And it just so happens that this year, as I'm doing those things and whipping a man, the ball carrier's there and I'm able to make some plays.
Definitely. Well, thank you so much. Thank you for your time, and
thanks.
Happy New Year.
You as well.
Thanks, Harrison. That's all we have for today.
Thank you.